"You were just my safe choice until this weekend," she said at our reunion. So I handed her the keys and left. Now he's blocked her, and she's begging at my door. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I never thought I'd be the kind of guy who got blindsided at a college reunion. If you'd asked me a month ago what my biggest worry was, I would have said making sure my suit still fit or not getting stuck in some awkward small talk with people I hadn't seen in 10 years. Instead, that night turned into something I'll never forget, though not for the reasons I expected. My name's David. I'm 30, work in IT at a mid-sized firm, and live a pretty stable life. Some people would probably call it boring, but I've always valued consistency. I like knowing the bills are paid, the fridge has food, and there's gas in the car. I've been with my girlfriend, Lisa, for almost 4 years. She's smart, ambitious, and she has this way of making every room brighter when she walks in. At least, that's how I used to see her. When we met, Lisa was finishing grad school and working part-time at a coffee shop. Money was tight for her, so I picked up the slack. I covered rent for a few months, paid utilities, and made sure we didn't have to live off ramen. I never resented it. I wanted to help her chase her dreams. She got a decent marketing job not long after graduation, and I figured all those sacrifices were worth it. Heading into the reunion, I was proud. We'd built a life together. I wasn't rich, but I was steady. I thought she appreciated that. Truth is, I was even thinking about proposing soon. The idea of showing up with her on my arm at the reunion, the woman I'd stood by through thick and thin, felt like proof I'd won adulthood in some way. The night of the reunion, we were driving over in my car, a simple Honda Civic that's never given me trouble. Lisa was scrolling through her phone, adjusting her makeup in the front camera between texts. "You're quiet," she said, finally looking up. "Just thinking," I replied, keeping my eyes on the road. "About what?" "About seeing everyone again. 10 years feels like a lifetime. Feels like yesterday too." She smirked. "Don't get too nostalgic. People change. Most of them probably don't even remember you." That stung a little, but I laughed it off. "Thanks for the pep talk." She leaned back, crossing her arms. "I just don't want you to go in expecting some movie moment. Reunions aren't like that. Honestly, you'll probably hate it." "I don't think so," I said. "It'll be good to catch up." She gave me this half smile, the kind that wasn't really a smile at all. "You're so predictable, David. You always think things will turn out fine." There was an edge in her voice I didn't like. I glanced at her, but didn't bite. Better than walking in expecting the worst, isn't it? Maybe. Or maybe it means you never push for more. I didn't know what she meant by more, but the way she said it left me with a knot in my stomach. I brushed it off, focusing on the road, but something about her tone felt off. When we pulled up outside the venue, a rented banquet hall near campus, Lisa straightened in her seat and reapplied her lipstick. "Okay," she said, finally sounding cheerful. "Let's go see how everyone's turned out." I smiled, though inside I still felt unsettled. If I'd known what was coming, I might have turned the car around right there. Walking into that banquet hall was like stepping into a time capsule. Same banners with the school colors, same smell of cheap buffet food, and clusters of people huddled together, laughing too loud like they were trying to prove they hadn't aged a day. Lisa slipped her hand through my arm, her smile wide and bright. For a moment, I felt proud again. This was my girlfriend, and I wanted people to see us together. The first hour wasn't bad. We said hello to a few classmates, traded stories about jobs, marriages, kids. People were surprised at how stable I turned out. "You were always the calm one," someone said, clapping me on the back. Lisa laughed at that. "Calm," she repeated, sipping her wine. "That's David. Reliable. Predictable." Her tone had that same edge I heard in the car. A couple people chuckled awkwardly. I smiled politely and changed the subject, but I felt the words hang in the air. Then he walked in, Mark. I recognized him instantly. He'd been the golden boy back in college, star athlete, loud personality, always had people orbiting around him. He hadn't changed much, still tall, still loud, still carrying himself like the room belonged to him. Lisa's whole face lit up. "Mark," she gasped. He turned, grinned, and they hugged like long-lost lovers. "Lisa," he said, holding her by the shoulders. "You look incredible. Wow, it's been what, 10 years? Too long," she said, glowing. Then, almost as an afterthought, she gestured toward me. "This is David, my boyfriend. He's steady, like I was a chair or a used car." Mark gave me a quick handshake. "Hey man, good to meet you." Then his attention went straight back to her. The rest of the night, I may as well have been invisible. Lisa hung on every word he said. They reminisced about college parties, professors, even inside jokes I'd never heard before. She laughed louder than I'd ever seen her laugh with me. At one point, she leaned in close to Mark and said, not quite whispering, "I always thought you'd move to New York and we'd end up together there." I froze. Did she really just say that in front of me? Mark chuckled awkwardly. "Yeah, well, life takes you places." He didn't seem interested in pushing it further, but Lisa wasn't done. Later, after a couple glasses of wine, she pulled me into a circle with some of her old friends. Her cheeks were flushed, her voice a little too loud. "You know what's funny?" she said, holding her glass high like she was making a toast. "David's always been the safe one, the guy you settle down with. But sometimes, safe is just safe." The group laughed nervously. I felt heat rise in my chest, but I stayed silent. Then came the line that carved itself into my memory. She turned to me, eyes glassy but voice sharp. "Honestly, David, you were just my safe choice until this weekend. I mean, look at Mark." She gestured toward him, grinning. "He's always been my dream. You've been stable. But come on, don't you want me to have passion too?" The table went dead quiet. Someone muttered, "Lisa." But she just took another sip of wine, like she hadn't just gutted me in front of half the room. I looked at her. Then at Mark, who suddenly looked uncomfortable. My heart was pounding, but my hands were steady. I reached into my pocket, pulled out the car keys, and set them on the table in front of her. "You can find your own way home," I said quietly. No yelling, no scene, just that. I turned and walked out, leaving her frozen, mouth open, the room buzzing behind me. The night air hit me like a wave, cool and sharp. For the first time in years, I felt completely awake. The drive home that night was the quietest one I'd ever taken. Not because Lisa was with me. She wasn't. She was still back at the reunion, probably trying to laugh it off or double down. I didn't wait to see. I walked out, got a ride from a friend, and left her with the keys sitting on the table where I'd dropped them. When I finally got home, the apartment felt unfamiliar, like I'd stepped into someone else's life. The pictures on the walls, vacation selfies, birthdays, little moments we thought were worth capturing, suddenly looked staged, fake. Every memory we'd built had been repainted in a single sentence. "You were just my safe choice until this weekend." I sat on the couch in the dark, phone buzzing in my pocket. Lisa's name lit up the screen. I let it go to voicemail. Then another call. And another. I set the phone face down and stared at the ceiling, listening to the silence. It was a strange kind of pain, less like being stabbed, more like realizing the house you thought you'd built was just cardboard and tape. The next morning, there were texts. "Lisa. David. Where are you? Lisa. We need to talk." That came out wrong. "Lisa. I had too much to drink. You know how I get when I'm tipsy. Lisa. Please pick up." I didn't reply. Instead, I blocked her number. For the first time in years, I put myself first. No explanations. No emotional labor. Just silence. Over the next week, I pieced together what happened from mutual friends. Lisa had left the reunion with Mark, grinning like she'd won some prize. Photos popped up on social media of them together at a late-night bar, her leaning into him like they were already a couple. It stung. Of course it did. But more than that, it clarified everything. She hadn't just humiliated me in front of classmates. She'd confirmed what I must have known deep down. I was a placeholder, not a partner. I started going through the motions of removing her from my life. Her clothes went into boxes. Her toothbrush disappeared from the bathroom. I told our landlord I'd be taking over the lease solo. It was like untangling myself from a knot I hadn't realized was strangling me. Nights were the hardest. I'd lay in bed and replay the reunion in my mind, every detail sharper than it had been in the moment. The way her lips curled when she said safe choice, the laugh from one of her friends before the silence fell, the weight of the keys in my hand as I slid them across the table. But the silence I chose afterward, that was mine. For the first time, I didn't feel trapped in her noise. And in that silence, I started to realize something. Lisa hadn't broken me. She'd freed me. She didn't know it yet, but walking out of that reunion wasn't the end of my story. It was the start of hers unraveling. A few weeks passed, and life settled into something strangely peaceful. Work kept me busy, the gym gave me structure, and the apartment, though emptier, felt lighter without Lisa's constant commentary about how I should aim higher. But I knew Lisa. She was never one to let silence stand. Sure enough, word started trickling in through social media. At first, it was subtle. Photos of her and Mark at dinners, group shots where they were just a little too close, captions like, "Good company, good night." Then it escalated. Her posting selfies with his arm around her, grinning like they were in some rom-com montage. People from the reunion messaged me. "Man, are you okay? Sorry about how that went down." Some were kinder than I expected, others just wanted gossip. I answered none of them. Instead, I watched quietly as Lisa built her new life online. And it didn't take long for the cracks to show. Mark was flashy, sure, BMW, expensive suits, always checking in at trendy places. But in the photos, he never looked at her. Not really. His eyes were on the waitress in the background, or his phone, or anywhere but Lisa. Then came the oversharing. Lisa posted about how real love means passion and never settling for safe choices again. Her captions read like thinly veiled jabs at me. I didn't rise to the bait. I just muted her accounts and kept moving forward. But I didn't have to keep tabs. Other people were more than happy to send updates. One coworker of hers apparently mentioned, loudly, at a happy hour, that Lisa was already complaining about Mark's commitment issues. He didn't like staying over. He didn't answer texts right away. He kept his weekends flexible. In other words, Mark was treating Lisa like a side option. One night, I got an email from her. No subject line, just a wall of text. "David, I know I hurt you, but you don't understand. Things with Mark aren't what I thought they'd be. He's not serious. He's fun, but he's not stable like you. I miss how calm you made my life feel. I don't know why I said what I said. Please just let me explain." I read it once, closed the tab, and never replied. Because by then, I'd realized the truth. I wasn't her safe choice. I was her anchor, and she only noticed its value after she cut the rope. What she didn't know was that my silence wasn't temporary. It was permanent. And while she was chasing passion, I was already finding something better. Something real. Lisa's unraveling wasn't dramatic at first. It was slow, visible only if you knew where to look. Her social media went from daily posts of cocktails and nights out with Mark to grainy selfies captioned with vague quotes about loyalty and people showing their true colors. Then the frequency dropped altogether. I wasn't looking, but people sent me screenshots. I guess that's the curse of small circles. Everyone loves a front row seat to drama. And then came the real kicker. One Friday night, I was at the gym when my phone lit up. A text from Lisa. "Lisa, hey, can we talk? Just one conversation, please." I didn't answer. 10 minutes later, another. "Lisa, I know I messed up. I thought Mark was different, but he used me. He was seeing someone else the whole time. He literally told me I was just fun until something better came along. Do you see the irony? I feel so stupid." I stared at the words, sweat dripping down my face, and felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no sympathy. Just clarity. The next week, she escalated. She showed up outside my building one night. When I came home, she was leaning against the wall, eyes red, trying to smile. "David, please. Just give me 5 minutes. You don't understand. Mark isn't who I thought he was. He played me. I cut her off. "Lisa, this isn't my problem anymore." Her face fell, but she pushed harder. "Don't be like that. You and I, we had something solid. You were my safe place. I see that now. I should never have said what I said." "Lisa," I said calmly, "you didn't say what you said by accident. You meant it. And I heard you loud and clear." She stepped closer, desperation flickering in her eyes. "But you don't get it. He dumped me at a restaurant. In front of everyone. He called me his experiment. David, I need you." I shook my head. "No. What you need is to sit with the choices you made." Her expression twisted, part anger, part humiliation. "So that's it. You're just going to walk away? After everything?" "Exactly," I said, unlocking the door. I already did. I went inside, closed the door behind me, and for the first time in months, I felt genuinely free. Because the thing about being someone's safe choice is this. Once they discard you, they don't get to circle back. Not when safety starts looking attractive again. A few months after Lisa showed up at my building, life had shifted in ways I couldn't have imagined back at that reunion. Work was going better than ever. I'd been promoted into a lead role, something Lisa once told me would take me years to grow into. On top of that, I'd started seeing someone new. Her name was Claire. We met through a mutual friend at the gym, and she was everything Lisa wasn't: grounded, kind, and genuine. She didn't care what I drove or how many zeros were on my paycheck. She cared about who I was when the world wasn't watching. So when a mutual friend invited me to his engagement party, I didn't hesitate. Claire came with me. And of course, Lisa was there. The second I walked in with Claire on my arm, Lisa's eyes locked onto me. She froze mid-conversation, her fake smile slipping. She looked different. Not terrible, but worn down. The gloss and bravado she once flaunted weren't there anymore. Later in the evening, she made her move. She approached me while Claire was chatting with someone across the room. "David," she said softly, almost like the word hurt her to say. "You look good." "Thanks," I replied, calm and even. She glanced toward Claire. "So, is that your girlfriend?" "Yes," I said. There was a pause. She fiddled with her glass. "She seems nice. But don't you think it's a little fast? I mean, after everything Lisa," I interrupted. "There is no we anymore. That ended the moment you decided I wasn't enough." Her face tightened. "I was wrong. I was stupid. Mark made me feel like I could have more, but he just used me. And I see now that you were the one who actually cared. The one who would have stayed." I tilted my head, remembering the words she'd spat at me at that reunion. "You were just my safe choice until this weekend." "You were right about one thing," I said quietly. "I was the safe choice. Safe, loyal, dependable. And those are the exact qualities that make me worth more than you ever saw. Claire sees it. You didn't." Her lips trembled. "So that's it. You're just going to throw me away?" I shook my head. "No, Lisa. You threw me away. I just stopped picking up the trash." Her expression cracked, tears welling up, but I didn't stay to watch. I turned, walked back to Claire, and wrapped an arm around her as she laughed with friends. In that moment, Lisa became exactly what she once accused me of being, the backup option. Only difference was, I didn't need a backup. I'd already moved on. And as I held Claire close, I realized Lisa wasn't even a chapter in my story anymore. She was just a footnote. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.